Yeah, hi there. These comments, I'm going to just use your initials for privacy purposes here. Let me take a look at the email here. Okay, I'm just going to say LM. All right, so if I remember correctly, you say I never took the Toefl exam before. My exam is scheduled on May 7th, about a month from now. I was wondering if you could let me know my level and what areas I should focus on. Okay. And let me get a pen here also. I need to take down some notes because you sent me an audio file for your speaking, right? And also you sent me a writing sample. And I'm going to give you a score in both of those areas, and then I can estimate what your overall Toefl score is, and then I can give you some advice from there. Does that make sense? All right, hold on. Okay, so first of all, let's take a look at the speaking first. We'll kind of go from there. I'm going to get out my calculator too, because once I figure out what your subtotal is in the speaking and writing area, I can go from there. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is I'm going to go ahead and click on some rubrics. I need to get the speaking rubrics and the writing rubrics for the Toefl IBT. That way I can accurately score your speaking practice test. Okay, so I have the speaking rubric now. I'm looking at that. And let me get the writing rubric. Okay, now let's go back to your email. I'm going to download the audio file that you sent. Okay, here we go. Okay, here's your question. The question is, okay, if I remember correctly, describe a place that you visited as a child and explain a favorite memory that you had while visiting that place. So that's the actual question. So let's listen to your response. Okay, we're ready? Okay, here we go.
Okay, that theme park in Riyadh, it's called land. I visited it with my family when I was young. It had a lot of games. I had a lot of fun there.
But you're not really describing the place. The question is, describe a place you visited. That means you have to talk about, was it a house? Was it a backyard, front yard? Were there trees, rivers, creeks? You know, you have to give some description of the place.
My best memory there when I rode the roller coaster.
So the first part of the question, you didn't really describe the place. So you're talking about going to an amusement park, right? So you need to describe that first.
It was so exciting, and I couldn't stop laughing. And when we got down, my sister was crying, but it was a really good day, and I loved that roller coaster.
Okay, so you're talking about going to an amusement park and riding a roller coaster. Okay, so the question is, let's take a look at what this question, according to the rubrics here, I'm going to put you right now at about 1.5 out of 4. So that's going to put you at 11 points out of 30 on the speaking right now. So you need a little bit better development. You didn't really address the first part of the question. You have some grammar and some vocabulary limitations. When you're speaking in terms of delivery, you have a lot of unnecessary pauses and hesitations and all of those things. Okay, now let's take a look at your writing. So the writing was, what are the most important qualities of a good roommate? And use specific reasons and examples to support your point of view. Okay, so I'm looking at your writing right now. Now let's get a word count right now. How many words did you write? So you wrote 209 words. So my advice is for independent writing, you need about 350 to 450. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different paragraphs, but you're not really developing your ideas that much. And with your introduction, you really don't have a good thesis. You don't have clear topic sentences in your body paragraphs, and you're having some language use problems, including vocabulary and grammar. So there seems to be a parallel between some of the problems you're having with your speaking, and you're also having these same problems in your writing, which means you're not able to develop your ideas enough. Okay, so let's go to the rubric so I can give you a score here. And I apologize, it took me a few days here to get to your message here. I'm going to put you about the same. I'm going to put you at about 1.5 out of 5 on writing. That's going to put you again about 11 points out of 30, so 22. Now, I'm assuming that you'll probably get a similar score in the reading and the listening area. So here's what we have. My best guess right now, I think this is pretty accurate. I've been grading and doing Toefl for a long time, and remember that the reason I'm doing this is you have a goal of getting 85 or higher on the Toefl IBT in May. So right now your score is about 45 points out of 120. That's where you are right now. So your question is it enough time? Do you have enough time to reach your goal by May? The answer is no. You have too many problems. I hate to tell you, but you have a lot of language use issues, a lot of vocabulary, a lot of grammar issues, a lot of problems organizing and developing your responses on your speaking and your writing. So my best guess is you're just not ready. You're not going to be ready to get that score in May. So I'm just being honest, right? So you're probably looking at about 3 to 8 months, I think, a very serious study before you're going to reach the goal that you're seeking. Now here's my recommendation for you. Now remember, I'm just giving you recommendations. You can do whatever you want. You can take the Toefl test next month. If you do that, at least it'll give you a start. You can see where you are and then how far you need to go. So my best guess is when you take the Toefl in May, you'll probably be scoring between about 45 and 55 points out of 120. And that would actually not be bad. That would be a start. Then you have to go from there. Now right now, if you do decide to join my course, here are my recommendations. There's really 2 things you want to think about right now as you watch this video. There's some things that you need to be doing in addition to using my online course, right? So let's talk about those things first. I recommend that you start reading every day for about 45 minutes. You can read magazines, newspapers, and longer books. This is very important for your English right now. Now, in addition to that, you can also practice listening every day for about 45 minutes. In this case, watch English TV if possible. You can focus on news, documentary, history, and also science programs. I think that would be very useful for you right now. Now, as you're doing the reading and the listening practice, using a pen and using some paper, you should start taking down notes. You want to focus on the main and the most important supporting points of the reading and the listening passages. Now that is very, very important for you right now. Now let me just double check, make sure the video is still working correctly. Okay, we're still good. Okay, now, the next thing, once you have your notes down, you need to practice writing about the reading and the listening passages. And my recommendation is, the writing response you sent me was 209 words. You should do more than that. I recommend each week write 5 academic summaries. Write 5 summaries of the reading and the listening passages that you're practicing. Each summary should be more than what you sent me in the email. It should be about 250 words. So you're doing 5 academic summaries each week. That's very good practice for your writing, also for your language use. Number 2, you should also practice speaking about the information that you are reading and listening to. Again, using your notes. Now, for speaking purposes, I recommend that you record your voice and do at least 5 60-second oral summaries each week. This is also going to be very helpful for your language use, for your speaking, and obviously you're doing your reading and your writing practice. So right now, you should be doing this every day, doing reading and listening practice, and then each week doing 5 written summaries and then 5 oral summaries. Now that's the start there. Now let's talk about my online TOEFL course. This is the next part of the video. And what you can do is, I recommend that you watch this video maybe once a week for a while so you can just remind yourself of what you're doing every day. So using my online TOEFL course, here's what I recommend. Because your English skills are pretty basic, I recommend first go through the vocabulary, pronunciation, and the grammar parts of my course. Do that first. That's what you want to do first. What you can do is, let's say today is day 1, if you join my course today. So you can do pronunciation lesson 1, vocabulary lesson 1, and then grammar lesson 1. If you have time, then you can do pronunciation lesson 2, vocabulary lesson 2, and then grammar lesson 2. So try to do a variety of things each day. Don't just only do pronunciation or only grammar or only vocabulary, because you might burn out. See, part of your success right now, in order for you to improve, is your mental state. You have to stay positive, you have to stay focused, and you have to be doing things every day. So that's the first thing. So work in the vocabulary, pronunciation, and grammar sections of my course first. That'll probably take you about 1 to 3 months. Once you've done that, then you can move to the listening and the reading parts of my course. Do that next. Again, you'll do listening lesson 1, then reading lesson 1. Then listening lesson 2, reading lesson 2. So you're doing a variety of things each day. Remember, as you do the reading and the listening practice, really focus on your note-taking. Note-taking is very important for TOEFL. Now, once you've done listening and reading lessons, then you can move LM. You can move into the speaking and writing parts of my course. That's probably what you want to do last. So those are my suggestions. This is what you can start doing today. Now, if you need to, if you want, after about 3 months, this is my recommendation, because usually you can't get good measurable improvement in just 30 days, especially with your English skills where they are. I recommend in about 90 days, what you can do is to take a full-length IBT practice test. At my website, in the 8th section of my course, I do have another company I've partnered with, and they offer full-length TOEFL IBT practice test, and that way, instead of paying $200, to take a real test for the TOEFL, you can take a practice test that only costs about $30, and you can get your reading subtotal, you'll get your listening subtotal, and all 6 of your speaking tasks will be scored, and both of your writing tasks will be scored, and then you get an overall score. So 90 days from now, then you can see where you are. So hopefully, if you're progressing and going on track the way I think you should, your score in about 90 days, if you follow my plans, it'll probably be between about 65 and maybe 75. And that would actually be very good progress for you. That would be a goal, something you can think about. So within 90 days from now, your goal is to try to get between 65 and 75 on the TOEFL exam. And if you can score in that range, I'm telling you, you're doing very, very well. All right? So those are my comments for you today. I apologize for taking a few days to answer your questions, but now you have it. Now you know what your baseline approximate score is for the TOEFL. You now have a plan on what you can do to improve your academic English language proficiency. All right, thank you very much, and all the best to your high-scoring TOEFL success.